got into school, went through the failed interviews, the constant no's, started to let it get me down. I sat down with my boss now and I said, "Hey, look, man, this is how I came at the interview." I said, "Look, man, I've got a horrible past. I had it listed. I said, here you go. This is what I'm working with. I just need a chance, and if you'll give me that chance, I'll prove to you that I can do you right."
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, like, comment. If you're listening to this over on the podcast, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever it is, it's a bit available on all platforms. Please leave us a 5-star review to help us get out to more people. I love doing this because it is good conversations with good people. Anybody is welcome. If you guys ever want to be a guest on this show, if you guys listen or watch any of my content, go ahead and message me. Come on, tell your story. That's what it's about. If there's any sponsors that want to reach out and support the show, go ahead and also reach out to me. My email's posted everywhere. reliablehvacr956@gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me. Speaking of sponsors, today's episode is brought to you by my favorite CRM, Jobber. If you guys want to use a software that helps us boost our business, whether it's invoicing, quoting, scheduling, keeping track of your team, price lists, our maintenance plan is in there. Now they help you with marketing and running campaigns through emails, all that stuff. And you can talk to your customer through texting in the customer hub. They can request work. You never have to pick up the phone. They can actually request work online through text. You can tell them that you're on the way. All the stuff that you would expect from a professional CRM. If you guys want a free trial and discount, go to getjobber.com/reliablehvacr. Also, VETO Pro Pack, the best tool bags in the game. I know people tell me the first thing is always the price. Let me tell you, other brands that I used to get at the supply house never lasted me. So in that short amount of time, I was buying several of those bags when I could just buy one VETO Pro Pack tool bag. And if you want to go check them out, go to vetopropack.com. You can also get them at any supply house or place that you buy equipment. They usually have VETO Pro Pack, and they just came out with the MB3 Blackout, which I am super excited for because I actually had a hand in some major design in that bag, and I hope to continue to work with that. But I use the MB3 Blackout as my favorite. I also use the Wheelers. I use a lot of their tote bags. I even have something in my van that just holds bottles and miscellaneous things, and it's made by them too. They have a bag for every scenario, so you won't be disappointed. Go check out VETO Pro Pack. And if you go to their website, go to the customer profile. You'll find me in there. You can learn a little bit more about me, and you'll probably see a lot of these YouTubers and people on Instagram that you might watch in that section. And when you're ready to level up your business, you can join BOSCH Home Comfort Pro. When you sign up, you get exclusive deals, priority technical support, and free marketing and advertising resources. By choosing BOSCH, you can represent one of the largest HVAC brands in the market with over 100 years of industry expertise. Join today at boschhomecomfort.us/HC Pro. And a big thanks to all the sponsors that make this show possible and moving forward. You'll hear more from local HQ marketing, NAVIEN, and DIVERSITECH throughout the show. And don't forget that I have another podcast/live stream every Thursday night, the HVAC Nights. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's me, Jake, and Curtis. You might know them already. And we just talk shop about our work week and life stuff. It gets crazy. It gets uncensored. It's a fun time. So come check us out live every Thursday on YouTube. And it's available on all podcast platforms later that week. If you ever want to keep up to date with anything that I use, whether it's tool recommendations, Camel City Mill socks have been really great for me, and the Huxley work pants. I have discounts for a lot of these things that I use. You can find them in my website, reliablehvacr.net. So like I said, tool link, recommendations, discounts. I got merch there. You can request stickers. I will have my arm sleeves up for sale soon, so make sure to keep an eye out there. And if you just remember to go to the website, you'll always keep up to date with everything. On today's episode, we have the Refrigeration Man, Kenny Postlethwaite. I need to start asking these guests how to say their name, but you can find him on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, a lot of different platforms. If you guys want to go check him out, I will leave everything in the description. Over on TikTok, he's Refrigeration Man 1988. Like I said, you can also find him on YouTube because he is doing some series to kind of help out some guys learning refrigeration equipment. That's what he loves to do. It's in the name. He is known for his HVAC because he wants to put refrigeration first, and I am all for that. I love the same kind of stuff that he loves, and we'll get into the struggles that he had from the past that he came from and dealing with those repercussions and trying to get into the trade and make a better life for himself, basically. So listen to his story and enjoy the episode.
Man, I am just coming off of a surgery.
I was
So,
going to ask you, what'd you break now?
so I tore my ACL and MCL and my lateral meniscus in my left knee.
Doing?
I'd love to say that it was something cool, like falling off a ladder or saving a cat, but I got tripped up in my work van and fell out of the back of it over a hose.
Oh, no way, dude. That's a hard way to go.
Yeah,
I was going to
so
say,
it actually
usually.
happened.
Oh, go ahead.
It actually happened in April, and it happened at work, so it was a workers' comp thing, and I got with the adjuster. I had a family vacation planned in Florida. My boss is running short on hands, like I'm sure everybody did through the summer, and we all got together, and I was like, "Look, it's already broken. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I got vacation coming up. You need help training new guys and getting through the summer, so let's just set the surgery date out." Everybody agreed to it, and I just kind of worked through it.
You sucked it up.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't advocate for people to do that in this industry. I advocate to go get, you know what I mean. But I talked to
Mm-hmm.
my doctor, and he said, "Dude, you've already maxed it out. So you're not going
Yeah.
to do anything to it. You're going to agitate it. It's going to be uncomfortable, but just, just take it easy." And I was like, "All right."
Yeah, it's the weird
So I had
part.
a
I tore my ACL back when I think I had just started too, but I tore it when I was playing basketball, which is like the weirdest thing. I played all my life every day, never had a major injury like that. Came down for a rebound and then it just snapped. I was like, what the hell's going on? I walked out, I'm fine, I'm like, walk it off. I don't know what's going on and maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. And then wasn't better. Had to go check it out. And I have a high pain tolerance. I don't know if you're kind of the same way, like uh and my dad is like the worst one at that. So like I understand, like you said, you don't advocate for it, but it's just I've
no,
always been high tolerance on that end. So if I get hurt at work, usually I'm like, oh, I'll just finish whatever I got and then I'll go get checked later.
yeah, yep, and it can be a costly mistake. You know what I mean? It can be a
You gotta
costly mistake.
you
So
gotta what do they say? Listen to your body. Just make sure you know what happened and kind of assess it. Because I mean, like I said, mine was a sports injury, so it was whatever. So you just had your surgery then, right? So you got everything repaired.
yeah, so I had my surgery on the 30th. Everything went pretty smoothly. Went and saw the doctor yesterday. Got my release to start getting off the crutches. Had my first physical therapy appointment,
You're
and
moving. You're moving pretty good.
yeah, yeah, yes,
Because
I
like
am.
what I had I had a crappy doctor because this happened like I don't know 15 years ago or so, and like I don't talk about it a lot, but I had that surgery at the time. I was like, shit, this is major, right? I couldn't do sports. I couldn't do anything. But my doctor just like kind of screwed me over on the whole rehab part of it. And he kind of like, oh, because I was young, he's like, oh, you'll heal, you're fine, nothing's gonna, hold
You'll
you
get that range
back.
of motion back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have range of motion whatsoever now. I got a botched surgery, and I went back in to clean it out shortly after, because then we realized that we had a shitty doctor, and I went to
Yeah.
go get like a second opinion. They're like, what was this guy thinking? And you need rehab, you should have been doing this, you should have been doing that. And I'm like, this dude told me not to go. So I had my ACL, not as bad as yours, because you said you tore like everything.
Yeah.
I had the ACL tear, I had to get it repaired, and then went back to get it cleaned out. uh had screws in it and all this other crap. And I don't have full range of motion right now, and it's hard for me to move around sometimes, but I've kind of learned to adapt to it, and I still do what I do. I'm on rooftops, I'm under, how it is in the kitchens and stuff like that. Like, I'm still rolling around.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Just
you're
to
moving pretty
clarify,
good, man.
I don't want to feel like I'm being disrespectful to you or your viewers. So if it looks like I'm not paying attention to the podcast, I explained to Adrian, I got a sick wife, so I'm trying to make her some chicken noodle at the same time we get this done. So
You're trying to
yeah,
multitask right there. It's all good, man.
yeah,
Yeah, because we were talking a little bit earlier, and then I've been busy because I think I told you I had a motor to do or something, but
yeah.
change of plans, had to go do something else. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to finish my morning with maintenance. I went out to maintenance lately. Every freaking maintenance I go to, there's like a bad motor or something major, condenser motor. And it's like, I don't want it, but I got to do it. I mean, it's good for business, all that, but I'm trying to get in and out. So that's what I did today. I went to do a maintenance call, and I was like, crap, I got to change out a motor now.
That's
We're
just that just means you're doing the maintenance right when you find things
I
that need to be corrected now, as opposed to on after hours calls.
This podcast is presented by Local. Local works tirelessly to help HVAC contractors rank higher on Google. They use an attack methodology to make sure that contractors dominate their local service areas and increase their market share and generate higher revenue. Reach out to Local at localhq.com/reliable. Mention me or the Reliable HVACR podcast, and you'll get 2 months of SEO for free. Yeah, man, I take apart the whole thing. I go through everything. There's like a checklist I got, but it's funny because like I've been in a rush because everything's due this month, and I'm just waiting for this month to be over. I need to get everything done, so I can kind of breathe a little bit. Summer's been hectic this year, and then our maintenance month is this month, and I'm still not caught up. So like today and like yesterday, I tried to pick, because I've done these before. I tried to pick the ones that were easy or close by, and those are the ones that had like several problems. I was like, crap. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually I got a checklist. I'll do recommendations. I do commercial. I think you do commercial too, right? Sometimes they have us do like an app or a website that we check in and kind of give them an update like of what we find and stuff like that. So I got to do it either way. I got to do it on my end and on their end. And
those things are never easy to get through, and those people are always a pain. In my experience, the third party thing is.
I got 2 customers. One uses an app, and it's kind of like, I guess, just to make sure we're there, right? Because it makes you take pictures, but you can't upload anything. It has to be like a photo that you actually took with the app.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And then I have another one that uses like a third party website, which is like how they pay us, because I got to upload like what our charge was and everything. Basically, like invoice it on there. And yeah, pain in the ass. I was telling the guys, that I do the other show with the nights, because they do residential. So it's always funny, like the differences that we have and things like that. Because they're like, a lot of people like residential because you get paid on the spot. And I'm like, oh, I got to wait for it to get it. And I showed them a screenshot. There's like 7 levels of approvals that it has to go through. And then it comes kicked back to me. And then I can invoice. So I'm like, okay, that invoice or that job that I did a couple weeks ago, it finally got all the way through, and now I can go back and invoice it. And then I get behind because at that point I'm like, super far into like whatever else I have going on,
Hard to keep track, and the days start all seeming the same.
Yeah, man. So, what kind of work do you guys do where you're at?
Um, we do everything. Man,
Everything under the
if it
sun?
my boss always says if it rejects heat, we can fix it or we'll condemn it. One of the two. So
Oh, yeah.
we don't really turn down a whole lot. We do some residential stuff, but mainly it's they're commercial customers, the owner of a restaurant or,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
We do those too.
so
I recently had one that was like a mom and pop shop. So I was like, I did it as a favor. And then the guy started like, hey, because I've already been there a few times now and they like the work that we do. They're like, hey,
yeah,
I got this thing going on with my AC at the house. I'm like, don't really like to do that, but go ahead. And I'll kick it usually to one of my guys if they want to do it, because like I don't have time to do residential, honestly.
yeah, yeah, I hear you. I'm not a fan of residential either. When they send us on, we're rather clean an ice machine. But
It's funny because a lot of guys hate ice machines. So do you do like kitchen work, or do you do like any commercial job? Like what kind of job sites do you go out to?
so we do walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers, ice machines, reach-ins, freezers and cooler. We do we do warranty work for a couple of different, but we turn down a lot of warranty work because they're very, they've got a warranty compressor change out, and it's like we'll give you 4 hours and um, truck charge, and we'll send you all stuff. And it's like 4 hours to do a compressor change out. Like that's,
Oh,
I mean, that's
yeah,
assuming everything goes completely smoothly.
which
That
it never does.
and never no. When they put a timestamp on it, it's like okay, this is about to be a crash. This is gonna crash. So
Yeah, I just did a warranty job recently for actually an ice machine. Have you ever come across Blue Air ice machines?
yeah, I have a couple of times.
Okay, I
Yeah, I
seen
did.
them in a couple of sandwich shops. That's like their brand that they went with.
So for some reason, the only ones I've run into around here are in churches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like the little under counter. They're the small little ones. They do all come with
Oh,
the blue light though that I've seen
okay.
so far.
I've only
So
seen the ones in the fountain drinks. So like, I mean, I don't mind saying it. They're the Jersey Mikes. We got a bunch of Jersey Mikes here. All of a sudden, that's their brand of ice machine that they want, and they randomly called us. So I fixed one that had a bad float, and then like recently, because they're basically the ones that I see. They're basically Hoshizaki. I don't know,
mhm.
knockoffs. So
Yeah.
they're exactly the same, and the plates, the evaporator plates, started separating. So they just had us go out there and change one out. So fortunately, the guy was really cool. Like, he I think he found us online or something, and I was able to charge what I normally charge, and thankfully nothing went wrong. It was super simple, and we stuck
How
to.
quick get the replacement parts?
He sent it out right away. I actually made him wait. I think I got it the same week. The whole evaporator plate. I had
Oh,
to make
that's
him wait like 2 weeks because I was just so backed up on work.
yeah.
Yeah, because
That's
I was
actually
doing
pretty.
it as a favor again.
Yeah. Well, it's a good experience to run into new stuff.
I
That's
was I
always
was excited for it. I mean, I get and I've heard you on like Pat's, and I've seen, I followed you for a while. Like, I think you're the same way. Like, that's what I like about this trade and this job is like the different things you see. So
yeah.
when he threw that one to me, I'm like, I really want to do it. I've never done one of those, and not even on because I've only seen a couple of Hoshizakis. We used to do those at the hospital that we used to have, and in a
Hmm.
restaurant down the street. I've only
Yeah.
had to change like the pump motors and like some of the other parts. I've never changed the whole evaporator plate. So I was like, I really want to do it. Like I was like, I'll do it, myself. Send me the part, and I was just like, when I got there, I'm like, okay, let's do this. I get excited for new and different things, and to be kind of challenged. I hate doing like the same thing over and over every day. I'd rather have the tough calls, you know.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way.
Today's episode is also brought to you by NAVIEN. If you haven't seen it yet, NAVIEN has entered the HVAC space in a big way with the new NPF hydro furnace. This hydronic forced air furnace delivers industry-leading variable capacity operation from 15 to 100% in both natural and propane configurations. You can learn more at navieninc.com. I also want to thank DIVERSITECH. They simplify your work. They have everything a contractor needs to complete a job. That goes from equipment mounting, condensate, management, tools, maintenance chemicals, electrical components, indoor air quality, and much more. They have different branches under the same umbrella. More than likely, you're already using some of their products or tools. So go check out diversitech.com, and it's your one-stop shop for everything HVAC.
You know, when the Intelligent really started coming out around here, they would say, "Well, we got an Intelligent." I'd be like, "Send me out on it. Send me out on it.
Yeah.
Send me out." I've got it now to where that Intelligent controller, you know, my field supervisor, he'll call me and say, "Hey, how do I get in this setting?" And it's almost like, "Oh yeah, that really paid off." And at first, you know, you run into something new, and you're like, "Okay, so I just need to read a manual, talk to some tech support," and then the next time I run into one, I remember that stuff. And so I'm the same way. If it's going to challenge me, that's exactly what I need.
So I had seen you talk about that with the guys last time. How do you feel about them? Do you like them, or have there been any nuisance with them?
So we had one.
Mind you, like I don't think Heatcraft likes me, so it's okay whatever you say. I've done a few videos on my YouTube channel where I've had issues with them.
Yeah. So I've always had pretty decent communication with them. I did have one job, and it was a while back, and I turned around and made a TikTok about it when I first started making TikToks because the guy was a complete, didn't call me back. I ended up,
Really?
yeah, it was a, but then after that, so far after that incident, I haven't had any problems with getting assistance.
Mm-hmm.
As for the equipment itself, we haven't had a whole lot of problems. We had one that ate a compressor, and it was because the
Because I
expansion valve immediately on startup wants to starve the evaporator, and the low pressure control wasn't ever adjusted on, and so it was
okay.
short sighted that deal, and somebody had jumped out the delay on it. So there was no delay on it. It was just, and it ended up eating the compressor. Well, we changed that only to find out later that it had on that condenser it had the liquid injection,
Oh yeah.
and the liquid injection wasn't doing its job, and it was overlooked. And so then it turned around and ended up messing up the windings inside the next compressor as well. So that's the only one run in. So for those, it's really important that you set that low pressure control to where it's got a good differential on it. You've got it set correctly. Because if you don't, it's, you know,
Yeah.
that expansion valve is the solenoid essentially. That's what they use. They
Yeah,
don't have.
on those Intelligens, those are Heatcraft. So those are the electronic, basically electronic everything. It's the board, like you said, the display that you control with the knob, and the electronic expansion valve is a 2-in-1. It's your solenoid shut off, and it's your expansion valve. So I've had, so how many have you come across?
Oh, probably. I know that we've installed at least half a dozen, and
Oh, okay.
I've worked on a pretty good amount of ones that we haven't installed.
Okay, so
So
you're pretty familiar with them. Cause
yeah, we
like,
got them in the hospital, and we hold the hospital's contract here, and that's what they've got in all their kitchens. So
oh well, hospitals tend to take care of their equipment a little bit better, because I do a lot of fast food chains, and they've we have an account that buys their own equipment, right? Like as if pretty much for like major equipment, like they have their own division that handles that. They had an HVAC guy that they hired to that just kind of oversaw it. They would still let us do the work and install it, and all the little parts we could still sell and do that kind of work. But like RTUs and like the walk-ins, they would kind of ship equipment to the store and then we would install it. So they went through this phase of getting nothing but IntelliGen. Right.
Uh-huh.
So then we installed them. I will say they are the easiest to install. Like they're super easy. As long as
Yeah.
you know what you're doing, you read the manual. Like you said, I even have a manual with me just in case on that one because we see them so much. And it's a breeze. So cool. Nothing wrong with that. I think I did have one issue where I didn't know how to set and I must have glanced over it or I didn't read it the way it was supposed to be read. And I did one of the settings wrong. It was like, because they usually hook them up to just a regular condenser, nothing fancy. There's no communication or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of them that have like the actual, because when it asks you like, is there a condenser hooked up to it
The
or something? Connect.
the
I don't know what.
unit.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah. The
connecting?
wire.
Have you
Yeah.
ever had one of those?
No, I haven't run into one of those yet. Ours are the
Oh,
same way,
okay.
just fancy and then the basic condenser.
Basic and mechanical. Yeah. So like that's the only one where I screwed up. I did put yes or something, and it was like the guy answered, but he was busy. So then he texted me and he told me what did I do, and I went through with him on over text, which is cool because he helped me out because I was out of town when this happened, and I needed to get going that day. So he texted me and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that was a mistake, right?" And he's like, "Go change this." I was like, "Cool, we got it going." So they're super simple, except I've had issues with the boards. I've had issues with the motors. I've had issues with the harness on the motors. They when they plug in, they're the plug style. They don't zip tie them or anything. So after a while with vibration, I've had a bunch just come unplugged. So now I
Yeah.
go back, and those are nuisance calls. So when I install them, I try to remember to put a zip tie on those. And
Yeah.
then I've had the issue where I've had at least two, maybe three boards that will not send a signal to my electronic expansion valve. Manufacturer had me change out the valve, and I'm like, okay, I'm going by what you're doing, what you're saying. And the next valve I put in, same issue. I'm like, you know what? Let's change out the board because they sent that just in case, and it was the board. So at some point, for a couple of them, they just would not send signal. So that's the only issue I have with electronic stuff is like it's hard for me to tell because if I run it in test mode and I do all the other service mode stuff, everything checks out fine. And I'm like, okay, everything's working. And then you run it and you got an issue with signal because on those harnesses to the EEV, you can't, I believe you can't check them while it's plugged in. Or like you can't
Um,
check them. I forgot how it works, but like they're hard to check.
yeah. So you can't. So you can check the voltage output at the board. So the issue that I have found with those harnesses is that they have the screw that screws in to the valve
Yeah.
to the head, and I don't know if it's a factory thing or what, but they're not tightening those all the way, and so that plug is just barely backing out. And when you look at it, it looks like it's. So then you check, your voltage coming out of the board, and you're like, oh, I got the voltage, so it's got to be the expansion valve, right? So then you change it, and there was a few that I've changed where I'm like, well, maybe it's the harness because once I figured out that screw that it was loose and that was out, that's always the first thing I check now. I'll shut it off,
Mm.
just a harness, turn it back on, and see if that's how I always check the harness. And if it's still not doing what it needs to, then I'm like, well, you're getting an expansion valve then. So,
I actually didn't know that. I don't think I know the first one I ran into, I did take it apart completely. I took out the screw, I took out the
uh,
harness, try to make sure, what I could find with it, but I hadn't, well, that's not something that I look for. I mean, that's with experience that you're going to know to check something like that.
yeah,
Cause I had another
yeah,
one, but it was a Russell that I had a bad transducer that kind of had me chasing my tail. Gotta love the new technology, right?
Yeah, and that's saying that the more components you add, the more likely you are to have a failure.
And not,
So,
but like all components that go to one board. That's the thing,
hmm
right? If something gives out on that board, you're kind of screwed. You can't bypass it or just change out something.
yeah. Oh, I did set one of those things one time, and I put the wrong I put the wrong refrigerant type. Um, and this was when I was kind of getting to where I understood him, and my field supervisor actually called me and said, "Hey, you installed this, and guess what I found?" So he kind of rubbed it in my face.
I had one
But
that because I went to a place and it, like I said, commercial, like it's bids. You know, we don't always do the work for some of this stuff, and other
uh
companies will come in, right? So I went there and I was like, I don't remember them having an Intelligent here, and they had one. I was like, okay, so knowing how you have to set them up precisely, right? You got to do everything right. I went
yeah,
through. I was like, let's just go through the settings because like it was doing some weird crap. This thing had the superheat set to like 15 or I don't know what, and it had like I don't even know if it had the right refrigerant. Like there were several settings that I had to change, and then boom, it started working fine. I'm like, okay, so like that was like a installer or user error, right? Because like you said, I mean, you got to read the manual. You got to know how this system works and the manufacturer. And it's so easy now because if I don't have the damn manual on me, just go online and look for it. It's so easy to find the manual on this stuff, and it'll tell you like this is how it's supposed to be set.
I'm a big advocate. If it comes to literature, that's where you need to start. Like, and when we go to install equipment, so we picked up a big contract with Walgreens. We went through and did Walgreens, and they had the KE2 with communication wire to the condenser, and that's we opened it up and read the literature on our way to the jobs. And every job we pulled the literature out, and it gets dry sometimes, but you'd be surprised sometimes you get on the job and you'd be on the sixth one and pick something up new in the manual. Like, oh, why didn't I catch that the first
Oh yeah,
6 times? So
and it's funny
that's
because there was one that I was gonna bring up of your TikTok videos because and there's so many good ones, but the one that you mentioned about like I guess like when you started versus now, like the drive to the job site, right? Like panicking.
yeah,
Yeah, panicking like as a new guy, you panic when you get your own call or whatever it is. And then now it's like and I feel the same exact way. Like now I don't care. Like just get me in front of the unit and I'll just go, right? But like when I
yeah,
started, that's all I tried to do is read the manuals or if I had a job that came up and it was like, okay, and it was great when they told me like what brand it was or what it was or you know what it was doing and I would just like start looking it up, seeing if I had a manual on it or something like that. But when you first go out there, you're terrified of that kind of stuff because you dread the whole drive over there trying to figure out like what could it be.
yeah. Yeah, and then you get set on something, and it'll lead you completely astray from what it was. So so the first time I went on call, we do this. It's a blood bank out, and it's about a little over an hour and a half drive. And I had just gone on call. This has been it was probably my second time on call. They got a negative 40 box there. It's got the big Bitzer compressors. I did a video on them a while back, but I get an on call there, and I went into sheer panic. I'd never been there. Like I'd heard about it, the other techs had talked about it, and I went into sheer panic mode. I was like, and I get out there, and I just put common sense. I was like, called my field supervisor, told him where I was headed, and he was like, "All right, well, if you have any questions, just call me." And I'm like, "That sounds great." You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? Drive out there?
Yeah.
And I got there, and I just stepped up there, and I just went to the base. I was like, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check my power, make sure I got power coming through my disconnect. And it was just a low. It ended up being a low pressure control failed or wasn't set correctly. And when they're not set correctly, I will test them 2 or 3 dozen times to see if they're going to go back out of adjustment after I've adjusted them. It ended up going back out of adjustment, and what it had done is chattered the contactor so much that it had it wasn't passing power through one of the legs, and it was a 3-phase. So, of course, the compressor was still working. I wasn't too concerned about it. Got that low pressure control changed out, the contactor, and man, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was like, handled the monster. I did that, me by myself. But
It's funny, man, because like I always tell people, you remember the tough days, the long days, you know, when something gives you trouble, but you also remember like the ones that you figured out, you know, and that accomplishment that you had afterwards, right? Like, yeah, you know,
yeah,
I figured it out, I got it right. You know, you remember those too.
yep, you do. Definitely stick.
So
So,
then, how long have you been in the trades or doing HVAC?
so I have been. Let's see, 2000 when I got out of prison. So, funny story. Actually, the first time I ever got introduced to this, I was um, just getting out of the army, and I went to work with these 2 old guys in the shop, and they stuck me in the shop, and they were like, "Here, bend this metal. I'm gonna show you how to do it. Just bend 15 of these, bend 20 of these." And for about 2 weeks of doing this, was like, "Hey, you know, can I go with y'all? Can I run service?" And no, you're gonna do that. And I was like, "I can't do this for the rest of my life," so I quit. You know, I couldn't do it. I threw up my hands, and I wish I'd have stuck with it since then, but I didn't. Um, so right now I've got about 7 years, about a little over 7 years maybe now. Refrigeration, I've got. When did I start doing this? 2020, 2019
So,
was when I started with Crowl. So
so you were
August.
doing sheet metal only first.
The sheet metal thing was in 2010.
Oh, but that was your introduction to
So
it.
that was, yeah. And I quit, and I actually went to cutting concrete after that, and never
Yeah, you
even
got to.
thought about picking this up as a career until I as I said on Pat's podcast, I did a little bit of time, and I got out. It was hard to find a job, man. I couldn't find a job. I got hired on at an apartment complex, and they were like, "Can you work on air conditioning?" And I was like, "Hell, yeah." Does it come with a pay raise? You know, and that's kind of where it started. Was I got into it? And I think I changed out a fan relay one time. I was like, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing." You know,
Yeah.
and then I looked into it, and they provided a program for um, how do you, people who've been to prison. It was a program that they offered, and I was like, okay. So I went to school at Tulsa Tech and got out. Got out. I finished school in 2019. I think I put in. I think I put in 13 applications at heat and air companies. Went did some interviews. Was just pretty much, look, we can't hire you because of insurance purposes. Your background got to be so far outside of your conviction date, and
Yeah, it's really
went to.
difficult, right?
It is, and I mean, I understand that. I get that now. You know, you you got to do. You want your business to be at its best, and you can't say that if you're hiring people that are fresh out of prison. If we're being honest, that's you can't be like, yeah, I got a bunch of convicts working for me. There's an
How
issue
many
there.
years did you do time for?
So I did 3 years. Um, yeah, I did 3 years. It was mainly, um, so it was yeah, I just got into a lot of trouble. It's not anything you can't look up on public. I had some things happen. I turned to drugs to resolve the problems. Drugs turned to other things, and kind of went on a crash course. You know what I mean?
Just like
And
a wrong path.
yeah, I just made the wrong decisions, and I made them a lot, and I got caught for it. And
And you had
sat, did my time.
You had your whole family at this time already?
No, 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 no.
This was before?
No, so, yeah. So this is
Okay.
before I was for my wife now. Um, So then, of course, sitting down, doing my time, I decided, this is not the life for me. This is not what I want to do. I can do better than this. And got into school, went through the failed interviews, the constant no's, started to let it get me down. I sat down with my boss now, and I said, "Hey, look, man, this is how I came at the interview." I said, "Look, man, I've got a horrible past. I had it listed. I said, here you go. This is what I'm working with. I just need a chance, and if you'll give me that chance, I'll prove to you that I can do you right." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So we sat there, and him and I talked for about 2 hours. And he said, "When do you want to start?" And I said, "Tomorrow." And he said, "Okay, be here tomorrow." That's
And that's the one that you're at right now.
That's the one I'm at right now.
No, it's cool, man. Um,
He's he is a he's been doing this longer than I've been alive, and he's kind of Billy Goat gruff, but he is super good at taking care of his techs. He gets with each one of us and understands this as an individual. We're not, you know what I mean? We have weekly shop meetings. His first question: anybody need anything? Everybody's good. Okay, let's get a shop meeting. And if somebody's got something to say, he's all ears. So
but no, I get that because I remember vividly. We had a guy work for us too, but prior to that, my dad ran who's a competitor now, but they're a big company here in Texas, and he worked his way up and he started hiring people. And one of the things I always say is that he trained his brothers to do this, right? One was doing a car alarm, installing car alarms and stuff. The other one might have been doing tile work or concrete work. I can't remember which one it was, and hated it. He trained them, and now like one works with us still. The other one is doing HVAC for like a school district. Like they all have like HVAC careers now. Um,
uh-huh.
After my dad took him in, and then when my dad started his business, they came over too. But there was a guy there at that company, and I remember because he interviewed him at our house, like when I lived at home, because I was still in school and my dad was at that job. And there was a dude that came in, shaved head, tatted up. I want to say he did some time or something similar to that, right? Got in a lot of trouble. And my dad was like there, and he's like, well, he knows his shit. I was like, I'm going to give him a chance. So I remember meeting him, seeing him, and then he went to work for my dad. And that dude just hit the ground running, right? It's all about your attitude, your effort, that kind of stuff. It might take some time, like you said, but you can get through it too. I'm assuming that all changed when you did your time, your thoughts or your, reflecting on different things. That might have been what changed your mind. And this guy that my dad hired, like I said, worked for us. I just ran into him the other day at the supply house, and I like went to say what's up and everything because he was like my mentor when I started. The dude is like goofy as hell. He jokes around all the time. He is like cursing all the time. Like he is just like that blue collar dude. But I learned so
Uh-huh.
much from him.
People can change. You can change your story. So how long have you been doing this?
A whopping 17 years.
I know you had mentioned on one of your other podcasts. And I couldn't remember.
And
Yeah,
I still don't get tired of it. It's weird.
yeah. Because I mean, it's funny when you think about it. So when I first started that, and I don't know. I think it's going to be real interesting to see where the industry goes. I know they have the VRV coming out, and the VR, that equipment. I think that
Some
equipment's going to
people
get.
some people love them,
Um,
some people hate them.
yeah, it's something new to me, and I've seen a couple of them. And of course, when I see new equipment on a roof, I always go look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will take time to go look at it, whether it's while my system's on the vacuum pump or whatever. But I will go open up panels just so I can put my eyes on it, and I've done that with a couple of those, and I I'm waiting for our first customer to call, and my boss already knows that when that call comes in, that's it. I have to have it. Um,
Man, I've done that too. When I see stuff or I hear about something, and I'm like, whenever we get that call, like I want to be the one to do it. Um, or if I'm on a rooftop, like you said, go kind of. I peek at like, because I work on a lot of strip malls. I'll go and like look around, right? And I'm fascinated by either brand new equipment or that really old piece of crap that is somehow still running. And I'm over there like, how? Like it's missing the housing, walking box, the condensers. I'm like, how the hell is this working? But it's working. I mean,
yeah,
you can say that maybe they don't make them like they used to, because I have seen some that are clearly over 20 years old, rusted. It looks like most of the original parts, but it's still there running.
still humming, still humming. It's
So
got the
I like to
Auburn
peek
colored
around too,
capacity. Yeah, it's always fun.
or take a picture of a nameplate, get a model number, kind of look it up later. That's the stuff that I do, and I feel like I've always nerded out about it. So like I like, you read manuals, like you said, literature, all that stuff. I used to do that a lot, or look up something that I've never worked on before, so that when that
Hmm.
call does come for that equipment, I've already read up on it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also a big. I will stand on a rooftop before I get started and listen and see if I can hear an issue that I might be able to pick. I'll get up there on, it's just like you use strip malls. We do strip malls. And so you get up there and you'll hear, and you're like, oh, well, that's not our customer, but they got a motor or they've got a panel off or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And I'm like, stop after I get done here with this customer is that door. And I'm going to let them know, hey, look, I'm here right now. I've got no problem servicing your equipment. Here's what I heard and here's what I saw. And if you'd like to make time to go check it out with me and give me the opportunity to fix it, I'm here, and I would greatly appreciate that opportunity. You know
No,
what I mean?
that's cool. That's cool, and that's good that you bring that up, because I was actually gonna have that as a talking point, but for the other HVAC night show, because like like strip malls, that's a common one that you would see that in. If you guys, anybody listening or watching wants more work, and you happen to do these strip malls, or you're like neighboring with somebody that, if you hear something, just go talk to them. Like, you're already there, like you said, you might be able to pick up some work like that. And it's funny because that happened to me yesterday or the day before. But it was my customer. Like, I was up there, started taking apart one of the units because I was gonna do like a maintenance on it, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
stripped it down, and I was gonna record something, like something simple, because I wanted to post just whatever. And as I'm recording, I start hearing like this hissing, and I'm like, what is? So then I have to like go over there, and I started recording over there, and the damn fan motor, had stopped working, and my compressor started hissing, and it was about to trip out. I was like, okay, now I got a call here on a maintenance, so I got to change out a motor and all that stuff. So it's funny because like I do listen, and I'll hear, if you go on a roof, you'll hear a lot of things. You'll hear a short cycling, a belt screeching, hissing, because I've had a few compressors right now that are tripping out because of bad fan motors and stuff like that. So just open your ears.
Yeah, plugged up condensers. And you'll be surprised the reactions you're going to get out of owners when you go up there and go, yeah, I just heard it. And he goes, well, you could tell by just hearing it. And you're like, yeah. And they're like, what? What? I'm like, yeah, I just listened. I just heard it across the way, and I went and checked it out. And before I touch it, I just want you to know that that's what's going on. And
It's funny
so,
because that's a skill you get after you've been doing it a while, right? Like, if you really just, because even whether it's in work or out of work, I always I always try to be just aware of my surroundings, right? So like, obviously for safety reasons, being in a parking lot, being out late at night, you want to be aware of your surroundings, but it's good for you at work too if you listen, and either it's your own customer, like what happened to me, kind of help them out before a compressor, died. We got that motor back up and going. And it happened like 3 times this past week, which is funny. Their maintenance just has happened to be up, so I was up on the roof. or else they wouldn't have known. A lot of these guys that, or a lot of these places that have RTUs and stuff, they don't even know what's going on the rooftop, right? So you got to be the one to tell them, and you'll get so much work if you just kind of pay attention and listen to everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you feeling like a superhero the first time you pull it off?
So what was I gonna ask? Did you grow up around any? And I've heard your podcast with Pat, but around any trades in general, like was that something new to you? I think you said you went to the military, so was that something new to you after that?
Yeah. So I didn't grow up. I wanted to be a firefighter when I grew up. Um,
Okay.
I didn't grow up with anybody in the trades. I was in foster care, so I didn't really have a consistent um, parental figure. Um, but the quickest way out of that was for me was the service, and so I went into the service as a firefighter.
Oh, so you
And,
did get to do that.
yeah, so I did that, and then when I got out, I tried to go and get a DoD job. I just didn't get on. I didn't make it. And so then I went on. Of course, I did the metal bending job there for a minute. I spent quite a bit of time cutting concrete with big track driven saws and wire saws. Heat and air was the first and only trade that I've ever looked into and I just decided that I wanted to do. And I thought I wanted to do heat and air, and all those companies that turned me down were heat and air companies. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to fix people's air conditioners. I want to work on air conditioners. And then my boss gave me a shot, and I figured out what commercial was refrigeration was. And I was like,
Mm.
man, I'm so I'm super blessed to not have been accepted into one of those heat and air companies, because I am one of those guys that when I decide I want to do something, if that's given to me, then I will stick it through. And I fully believe that if I got hired on to a heat and air company, that's where I'd still be doing heat and air.
But
So
you're a refrigeration guy because I think your whole thing is the RHVAC, right? Which I am 100% on board because when people ask me, like, I I'm a refrigeration technician. That's what I do. That's what I advertise. I only check, or I only work on ACs because the customer is like, "Hey, can you check our AC too?" Right? Of course, I can do it, so I do it.
yeah,
But I am, well, my dad does the food service side, so he does the commercial kitchen stuff. I do all the refrigeration stuff. Right? We work together in the kitchen, and that's what I would much rather be up on a walk-in box versus like a residential system or any sort of AC system.
yeah, yeah. I've wanted to get into the. Everybody tells me, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's greasy and it's dirty. But I've tried to get my boss to letting me go out on some hot side calls, because I truly believe that I'm smart enough that if I come to a fryer, not only do I know that I'm going to be able to call tech support, I have seen some that are super complex, that I could troubleshoot my way through it. Like, I understand what a thermistor is. I know what a thermostat is. I can pretty much figure out what's switching it, and what's
Yeah,
boss just won't let me. He's just like, I'm putting our hands in that. We got too much going on now.
but your
Um,
company doesn't do that stuff, right?
no,
Oh, okay, so
no,
you would be the one kind of uh
yeah,
what do you call it, leading them into the fire on that. So
bosses.
because my dad does it, right, and I that's what I started on. I used to go help him do that kind of work, and I would do, like you said, like they're kind of it's funny because I've had it explained to me that it's the same components, same parts as, like, honestly, like a gas, furnace or gas AC unit, right? Gas
Uh-huh.
valves, you got like you said, thermistors and thermostats and thermal piles, stuff like that. Those are the things that I used to change out, not really knowing what I was doing, but I was helping my dad. And it's not it's not that it's difficult, because I don't really do it. I want to get into it kind of like you, but it's not that it's really difficult. It's just like when I go see him do that work, I just feel like they cover so much more than the stuff that I cover, right? Because, like, I mean, maybe it's probably different for you because you probably see more stuff than I do. But like when I go with him, it's like, you know, you open up an oven and there's like, a lot of the stuff he fixes doesn't even have to do with the equipment that heats up or whatever cooks it. It's like the door. It's like they have so many different kinds of doors, spring loaded, or like all these different contraptions that I've seen. And like, those are most of his calls, or like they break the doors or like something on these ovens.
Handles
So
and
he has to be like every little part of that oven or fryer or stove. Like he has to know how every little part works and be able to fix it. Yeah,
stuff.
because like with us, it's like mostly refrigeration equipment, controllers, and then like a walk-in, like hinges and closers. That's it, or that's what I see.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty. People are intimidated by it, but we get these new guys in, and for me, 3 months in, and I was seeing things pretty regularly to where I don't want to say comfortable, so I got familiar with it, and then we work on so many different types of equipment that it was like, okay, well, this one doesn't have one stage; it has two stages, and then it was on to, okay, well, he's got enough knowledge, let's send him to a hospital, and then you run into a cascade system, and you're like, okay, so you know what I mean? And you just slowly build. But once you get those basic things down, and I'm sure you've seen the series that I'm putting out on the walk-in freezer
I was gonna ask you
on
about that. Yeah.
my TikTok. So for me, it was getting that basic system down. And then once I got that down, the first time I ran into a liquid injection, like, okay, well, what is that? Because I never seen that before. And a lot of people have never seen that before. And then you
No,
figure that
I
out.
had it. I had it. I actually posted it on my YouTube channel, and I asked people, or like I showed it. I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, and then I had comments that helped me out. So I learned about it actually through my comments, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I looked into it and I figured out how it worked.
Yeah. So it's actually called, I think it's called the D valve, it's discharge temperature control. And it just helps. It just helps pretty much cool the compressor down. Like, but when
Which
you
is
see
crazy
it,
because I have only ran into two of them, and I live in Texas where it's like super hot, but we don't have a lot of scroll compressor units. We still have the older style, just the hermetically sealed compressors, reciprocating, all that. We just a few years ago finally stopped seeing like the semi hermetics because that's all I used to work on.
yeah. I like the semi-hermetic compressors there.
I had gotten so used to them, and then we stopped seeing them because everybody changed them out.
Yeah, yeah, we still do. So we do food trucks, and all the food trucks have this little K-body semi-hermetic compressors.
So that series you have, it's gonna be on walk-ins, or what was it specifically for?
Yeah. So it's just walk-in freezer, the basic components, and the wiring. And I've got the first two parts done. They're pinned on the top of my profile. If anybody's interested in going to look at those.
And what are you gonna
Um,
be going over in those?
what do you, so I've completed the evaporator section. We went over the defrost termination and the fan delay, thermostat, and solenoid heaters, the high limit to the heaters.
You're
And
gonna break it down and go through all the components?
yeah, yeah.
Because
So I
that I mean that's really cool because like I went to school for it, so I had some basic knowledge when I came out as far as like, you know, how to hook up to a system, how to check superheat, subcool. I knew my major components on that, but then like you get out into the field and you're like, what are all these safeties in between, right? Like it took me, the only way that I figured it out, like when I was working on stuff out in the field, was like, okay, everything's basically a switch, right? And everything's like temperature related or whatever it is, pressure related, and they all have a job to do. So like I can see where, you know, something like that would be helpful because like I just remember back when I started, the wiring and all the safeties in between is kind of what tripped me up, and it would just take me a little bit longer, but I would end up figuring it out. And then
yeah.
sometimes you can't, like, the, what do you call it, the wiring diagram is like peeled off or not there, right? And you got to go in there and kind of trace the wires yourself. I
Hmm.
think that's what a lot of people might struggle with as far as like the walk-in stuff is all the the wiring, especially on freezers and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I went through, pretty much made it super basic, two fans, defrost, termination, fan delay. I actually did a video on how to troubleshoot that if it's working, the open and the close, Yeah. And then we went over, yeah, it's I kind
And
of broke
the
it.
cool thing, I'm sorry, the cool thing is when you figure out how they work and what they do, that's when I started figuring out how to like, because I bypass things to help a customer out, right? Like overnight, something like that. As long as you know how to wire things and know what each one does, you can get the customer going in emergency situations too. That's very helpful, to the customer.
Yeah, yeah, and they
And
would
not
be
to blow
super.
something up.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you a story. Whenever I first started, I'm going to tell you my electrical story. So when I first started doing the apartment maintenance, they said, "Can you do work on air conditioner?" I said, "Yeah." Well, I got in. This is how dumb I was to it. I can't remember if I said this on Pat's, but I get in there and there's this wire hanging there, and it is wire nutted off. And I looked, and there was another wire that was hanging down, and it was wire nutted off, and the unit wasn't working. I'm like, "Phew." And I'm going to turn the breaker off. I'm going to put those wire nut those back together, and that's it's obviously somebody just unwired it. I don't know why they did that. It was two separate legs of power. And I wired them, and I flipped the breaker on, and it shot that wire nut across the apartment. And the lady that was in, like, "Oh, you know what you're doing?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh
So
man, that I mean, when you and like I said, like when you start, you don't. I'm just going back to like what I've experienced, right? Like I don't know what any of that stuff is. I don't know that there's a reason why something was unplugged or um, I've come across like actual wire connectors that are just hanging there, and I'm like, okay, did somebody take that off on purpose or did it just loosen up
yeah,
and fall off? Like I don't know. So knowing how to read a schematic, knowing how to check for voltage, knowing where to check for voltage and where you should have voltage, like all that stuff. It took me a while, I'm not gonna lie, to get all that, like the electrical side, because that was my weakest point for the longest time. And I think I leaned on my dad a little bit because he's an electrician. So I'm like, hey, can you help me out here? Like I just need, like I knew what I needed, I knew what this had to do. Help me with the wiring, you know? I just wanted to kind of cap off on the refrigeration series that you have going on. Is there going to be more to that, like other stuff, or you're just doing the
yeah.
walk-ins for now?
In there, some people have asked me to go over the KE2 controller and how it works. I'm going to try to put something together for that. I've had quite a few requests. Um,
Well, man, I hope you keep it up,
so
man. Because like I said, when I started, that would have been very helpful.
yeah, yeah, and I do want to, I do want to help out the next generation. I don't want, what I mean.
You don't want to gatekeep.
I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't. Gatekeeping is going to get me any more business. I know what I bring when it comes to customer service and my own experience, equipment, and my own knowledge. And so, if I give them all the knowledge in the world, then good luck. I mean, I'm I'm pretty confident in what I know. I've got no reason to gatekeep, and I
No,
just want everybody.
that's awesome. Like I said, I appreciate all that stuff that you do on TikTok. I've been following you for a good while, and it's. I mean, you learned all that on your own, right? And I feel like when you talk about it, you know it very well. So I mean, that's a good thing. So I'll leave all your stuff in the description. Make sure people can go find you, go check out that series and all that.
Yeah,
One quick question because I've been following you for a while. What's up with the carpet in the van? Was that already there? Or did you put that in?
no. So we actually fabricate our own vans, build the shelves, and that thing's got like a 3.5 inch wooden header in there, like wooden
Oh, okay,
partition. And so that's actually just it covers up that wooden partition, and it helps with noise and vibration.
okay. Because I've known you forever for the carpet in the van. I just had to ask.
Yeah, it's just for noise, vibration, and it keeps kind of insulates the cab really.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping in and sitting down for a while. I think we both have hectic days right now, but I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Everybody watching and listening, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.